The first time I tried Meadowsweet, I think I pretty much spat it out. And yet now I use it to infuse a lovely watermelon flavour into a very simple sugar syrup. And here's how. First of all, let me just tell you a little bit about Meadowsweet. You'll find it in the UK from March to October in some form, and you typically find it along riverbanks and in hedgerows and waste ground, and indeed meadows. Although I believe the reason it's called Meadowsweet is less to do with meadows and more to do with mead, because it has been historically used to flavour mead. The plant contains salicylic acid, which was the inspiration for aspirin, and indeed Meadowsweet actually used to be in something called the Spirea genus. It has since been reclassified, but it used to be in the Spirea genus, which was where the name aspirin came from. It's probably worth considering that you shouldn't eat this plant in any significant quantities if you are pregnant, under 12, if you're on blood thinning medication or have an aspirin sensitivity. And it's because of those medicinal compounds, particularly salicylic acid, as to why the plant doesn't taste very nice. But underneath that unpleasant taste are actually some very nice flavours of things like watermelon, vanilla and almond. And that's why many chefs and even barmen are able to use it for that purpose. And one of the easiest ways to extract the watermelon flavour from it without any of the horrible flavours is to make a very simple syrup and infuse the leaves in there for about 12 hours. So to make this syrup, first of all, you just want to make a very simple sugar syrup. I just use 1 part sugar to 1 part syrup. So for example, 250 millilitres of water with 250 grams of sugar. You can warm it up a little bit if you want to. The advantage of that is that the sugar will dissolve into the water a lot more easily, but even at just a normal room temperature with enough stirring, it should dissolve into it nicely. And once you've got your syrup, you then just need some Meadowsweet. Obviously you don't want so many leaves that you can't even get them into the syrup, but similarly you don't just want 2 leaves in 500 millilitres of syrup. So just use your own judgment. As a rough guide, you just want enough leaves where it kind of fills up the space of the syrup, but just loosely. You're certainly not trying to tightly pack them in or anything like that. I just harvest a few stems and I then take the leaves off the stems, so they do want to be separated from the red stems, and then put the leaves, once you've washed them if you wanted to, into the syrup and leave them there for about 12 hours. You don't need to heat it up, you don't need to put it in the fridge, just leave it on the side at a room temperature for about 12 hours. Once the 12 hours is up, you just sieve off the leaves. I use a sieve and a muslin cloth to give it a nice fine sieving, and then you've got a lovely watermelon flavoured syrup that you can use any way you want. The syrup can be used just like any other syrup, but one of my favourite uses is just to put a little drop into some water to create a lovely, refreshing, watermelon flavoured summer drink.